Hello, Craig.
It's all on you, it's all on me. Can't you see? It's all on you, it's all on me. You and me, can't you? It's all on you, it's all on me.
Hey, Craig. Right or wrong, we don't care. Win or lose, we don't care. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care.
Hey, Jeff.
Dude. This is we had to look up what episode this was because
It's been 2 months.
2 months. We did not. I don't think either one of us realized that that it had actually been 2 months. I don't know. You clearly didn't.
I knew it had been a while,
It'd been a while.
but that was longer than I thought it had been. So sorry, everyone.
I'm going to blame it on Craig,
Hold
actually.
on, what episode number is it?
220. Episode 220.
Welcome, everyone, to Podcast versus Everyone. This is episode 220. I'm Craig Powers, and right next to me, Flat Stick Pub in
Pioneer Square.
Pioneer Square,
Yeah.
sorry, is Jeff Newser.
What's up, buddy?
I'm doing well. I got an old Crimson Lager with my best bud.
I know. We're going to have the full old Crimson Lager review here finally.
We're going to the Sounders, which hasn't been a terrible experience recently.
Yeah,
No.
suddenly don't suck, which is amazing.
Knocked on wood if you could hear that. I got the lucky scarf going.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So we decided to stop by Flat Stick Pub and record. We didn't even tell them we were doing it. So
Nope.
hopefully
No,
you're
this is
okay
just-
with it, Flat Stick.
This is
Sorry,
some
Rob.
Wildcat shit.
Yep.
Hopefully Rob Forbes is listening.
Yep.
But, yeah.
But yeah, this is our favorite place to grab an old Crimson Lager before Sounders matches now.
Yeah, and like
which
they
is
have
excellent.
now I know like we've been getting reports on the members only Slack about Old Crimson finally making its way to the Flat Stick in Spokane.
Mm-hmm.
But this one here at Pioneer Square has had it pretty consistently for the last few weeks.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's every time we're like, oh no, the keg is running out. No, they got another one.
Yeah, so I feel like the production's starting to catch up. We'll talk about it more in a little bit, but we're drinking it right now. We're going to be drinking it throughout the pod. We're going to be drinking it
We'll
after
probably
the
take
pod.
a break.
We'll
to
try
go get more of it.
because Jeff took a little while to set up.
I
So
don't know. It takes a little while to get all this stuff
My
set
beer
up.
is nearly gone.
Yeah.
But Jeff, us doing this, like I was very excited to come up here early and hang out and go to the Sounders, but I also paid extra money this week to play a video game 3 days early.
Yes.
So I've been trying to maximize my time with that. And of course, our listeners will probably know that is College Football 25 by EA Sports, the first college football game in over a decade. Which has just been insane and incredible to be able to play again and to have back and you know all the players are in there and they're getting money for it, and that's cool, and it's fun. Like it's just exciting to have it again. Like just watching everyone play it, everyone that's now a decade older than when we used to all talk about it.
Yeah.
And now it's like,
Yeah.
wait, can we, like, I've had 2 kids since then. So
Yes.
finding time to play is going to be a different challenge than when I was when I was childless and did whatever I wanted.
Right.
But yeah, I'm very excited. I probably will never be as good at it as I was when I was in college, which is when I was the best at it.
Now, is that because it's more like your life is super busy, so you just don't have the time to play it, or is it because the game is like fundamentally different than what it was, and there's a new learning curve?
I will say the game is not fundamentally different than it was. The gameplay did not feel that much different.
Okay.
But I think it's smarter. The AI is smarter. The computer, because I only play against computer. I've never been one to play online, like anything.
Yeah.
So I'm just against the computer all the time. But like it's smarter. Like it figures stuff out. It calls out your blitzes, like all this stuff. Like that's pretty interesting. But yeah, like I'll just never have that 10,000 hours of mastery that I did back in the day. And and the games are harder to break now. They're harder to trick and harder to spam with the same plays over and over again.
Yeah. No more like roll out, hit the corner route against cover 2 over and over again.
Yeah. So it was that is part of it. But and then also I would say the recruiting is a little bit more intense than I remember.
Okay.
And so it's a little more time intensive and a little more thought has to go into it. Rather than just like picking your guys and maybe assigning, you still assign like points, but you have to like you have to figure out what they care about and how that matches with what you're good at,
Okay.
And then some of them have deal breakers if you're bad in something that they have to like, so there's stuff like that. And like even like when you do visits, you remember the old game, you get them to that visit and then you basically it was if you won the game. They would commit.
Yes.
If not.
Yes.
So that's still but now it tells you like if you win, it's this good, and if you lose, it's this bad. And it's better you get more points, more influence if you schedule and win against a big program versus a small program. So it's very interesting. So I've been putting my schedule together. Now I've already like figured out how to like put a schedule together to like make sure that the weeks when recruits want to visit, I'm already have learned quite a bit. I've played it more than I probably should have so far. But it's super fun. Like it's so fun to have again. Martin Stadium is spot on. Like the only thing missing, which is weird to me, is that they have an American flag where all crimson flies, which is weird. But everything else is like it even says Cougar Football Complex on the Cougar Football Complex.
Yeah.
And if you remember the old games, they would have like things look similar, but they would never have anything like that.
Yeah.
That would say the things and
I mean, there were limited like previous iterations of the game. There were technological limitations, right? I mean, like they weren't making games that were 60 gigabytes of data or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's like so obviously a lot more opportunity to pack in a lot more of that stuff. Now, you said you've been learning all the different stuff. One thing I saw that you learned right off the bat was how to modify conferences.
yes.
Yeah. So, tell us about how to modify conferences and how you creatively modified your conference.
So when you started Dynasty mode, you can make the conference whatever you want, and you can change them by year by year too. So I was like, how am I going to do this? Because obviously you could just be like us against the world and just roll with how it is and see how it goes. But I created a new Pac-12 with 2 divisions. The Survivors Division, which is at Wazoo and Oregon State, and then places that are the most fun for fans to travel of Mountain West teams. So I did Wazoo, Oregon State, and then Hawaii, Nevada, UNLV, and San Diego State, and Colorado State. So those were the other teams included. And then that was 7 teams. You can have one amount of different in the divisions. So and then I had 8 teams in the other division, and it's all the blue bloods. And so I called that the Money Conference. It is Texas, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, LSU, Penn State. I don't know. There might be another one in there. But yeah, like so it's just a bunch of like blue blood, biggest programs. And it's also funny because they like beat each other up, I've noticed. But the ranking systems are dumb. Like the first season I went through, like Wazoo was of course undefeated, but
of course
every other team had at least 3 losses. And maybe it's because I put Florida State in so just because I was being an asshole, I put Florida State in the American, and I put Florida State in the American and Clemson in the Sun Belt, just because.
Yes.
And then I also robbed. So the Big Ten, all its best teams are robbed. The SEC, all its best teams are robbed, and then all of those 10 remaining teams.
This is my favorite part.
From the Pac-12. I was trying to decide what to do with them, and I thought they love calling us a Mountain West school now. So I decided I'd create a division within the Mountain West, a 10-team division called Losers. And then that would be matched up against the other division called Mountain, which is mostly Mountain West teams plus like some other kind of like New Mexico State and other teams that could potentially be Mountain West teams and that maybe were WAC teams at one time. So yeah, all those 10 defectors, they are did I say the right word? Defectors. Thank you.
Yes.
Defectors. They are now in a lower. They have a lower conference prestige, and so when it comes to recruiting, and then they all play each other. And I made it so that only the division winner gets to go to the conference championship game.
Yes.
So they play. So all those teams beat each other up, and only one of them gets out to play one of the Mountain West teams. And the other one, I also did that for the Pac-12.
Yes.
So either WSU will play one of the powerhouse teams. So yeah, that's the losers conference. UW was close to last place in the first year I've been, and they're off to a bad start in the second year as well. So I was very happy to see that. Oregon is still very good.
Yeah.
But it was great to see that UW. I think the game picked up that they lost a lot. Annoyingly, Colorado is good because they just.
Yeah, for some reason,
they rated Colorado as probably the second best team of the leftover Pac-12,
which
Pac-12
is weird,
teams,
and totally not going to be what happens.
It's not going to be true. It's probably because that they rated Shedeur Sanders really high and they rated Travis Hunter really high, and that just brings you up on both sides of the ball because Hunter plays on both sides.
Well, they also should have given them. I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming it's something like Madden, whatever. Like the health rating for those two guys should be like 20.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever, but I don't know.
But yeah, they do like guys tire out quicker. You can't just like spam a guy. Like those take them out.
You can't just hand the ball off to the same guy 14 times in a row.
They'll come out. There's a lot it's a lot more difficult to run the no huddle because you can't just spam the same plays over and over again.
Yes. Like that reminds. So I haven't played a lot of football games in quite a while, but that does remind me a little bit of like when I have played Madden in recent years. Yeah, where it's like the AI adapts a lot to what like you cannot just run the same play over and over.
When you're at like a hostile stadium, like a big like a big stadium or a rivalry, like if you play at Husky Stadium, or I played like at Notre Dame and at like they like if your quarterback doesn't have a high enough like I don't know if it's awareness or something, the buttons on the receivers like it just puts a question mark above their head. So you have to have memorize which button.
I'm trying to remember. Like I want to say they did that on like it was like a composure rating.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you had to like and like if your composure rating was low, it just would be like the screen would like shake, and then like you'd be and your controller would actually vibrate.
Yeah.
As you were trying to figure out which guy to pass it to.
But yeah, so far it's been fun. Now, there's the one thing that's cool is every single WSU helmet, jersey, and pants and shoes are in the game.
Yep.
It's weird. It gives you the chance to change the sock colors, but they don't change. They're always white.
That's funny.
So I think that's a glitch that.
Yeah, a little glitch.
But you can have. They have all the helmets, including the classic script helmet.
No shit.
That's
awesome.
They have that weird Wazoo script helmet, the red one.
Okay.
And then they also have the Wazoo one from last year.
Okay.
The anthracite one. And then they have all the other. They have every iteration. They have white with anthracite Cougar logo and a white face mask, and they have white with anthracite Cougar logo and an anthracite face mask. They have so many helmets. They have every single jersey, so you can just it's really fun to just like play every game, different jersey, different combo. That's cool. The colors are like perfect too. Like they look so good.
Yeah.
Like they have the anthracite is so good. The crimson is so good. Like they did so. It's so fun. I'm glad because like WSU has like way more combos than like some other teams because of all the helmets. Like,
Yeah, and I imagine like for them it was pretty easy to do because it's really just swapping out colors.
Yeah. So there's
right?
only there's three
there's
that
no
are different,
difference.
and then
There's no like the uniforms aren't different. They're just the colors are swapped out for all the different elements, which I think would probably be pretty easy for them in the
What-
video game.
well, like it's funny. You do like you could do the Snow Bowl. So you do the script helmet with
Yes.
crimson.
Yes.
And then like you can do all the combo. The one of the all-time best ones is they've only worn it twice. Is the white helmet, anthracite logo, anthracite kit, anthracite jersey, and white pants. And
Yeah.
I've done that multiple times. Like it's just fun like doing the combos.
You haven't done the cursed combo, have you? White, crimson, white.
White, crimson.
That's the
red.
one where everybody
gets
gets hurt.
I have not done that, and I never do the classic one.
Yeah,
'cause that's boring.
classic. Yeah.
Unless it has a script, I'll put the script on
Okay.
it, and they'll like at least do something different.
Yeah.
But like it
The
is
gray,
fun,
crimson,
like,
gray. By the
it
way,
is
what
fun
we're
like
talking about.
changing it every game. You
I
just
love
like
that.
change it up.
Yeah.
That's a cool little thing.
Well, like to me, that's like the thing that makes. So I have not gotten the game yet. I probably won't honestly get it until the fall. I have an old Xbox. I have an Xbox One, like a one.
Yeah.
So this game does not play on that, which, and I've known for a while that I'm running out of runway with my
Yeah.
Xbox One, because like I'm guessing I'm gonna have to upgrade.
Well,
because
even the PS5 and the Xbox X generation has been out for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
At this point. 3. Maybe
yeah,
3.
and you can do it with the S series also. Now we actually do have an S series in my house, which is the one that the kids use in their room. And so I'm
good luck with that.
Yeah, I might have to. I don't know. Like I'm trying to decide: do I download the game on what is ostensibly their Xbox, or do I just go ahead and spring for the Series X just to kind of get it over with? But that's like a $500 investment plus the game, and I'm like, I don't know. So anyway, nobody
Yeah.
wants to hear about that. I don't have it yet.
There is not that I would ever play online, but there is cross-platform online play
Okay.
on this.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. So there's that piece of it. So I don't have it, but to me, like that's like the fun part is like, EA always brands himself, if it's in the game, it's in the game, right? Which is like, okay, so all the jersey combinations, but also like the stuff you get to modify, the conferences, just the ways you can have fun with it in
Yeah.
a way that, because like a lot of the other games, like I play a ton of like soccer, right? Like I play a ton of FIFA/EAFC now. And so there's not a lot of opportunities there for modification really.
Yeah.
But you have like, however many hundreds and hundreds of teams you can play with.
Yeah.
But here it's like, all that stuff that you love about your school. And I think that's why the game has sort of resonated and why we all have sort of pined for it for so long.
So they've even added like more than like what used to be an old one. They play Jaws on third down. They play the Cougar growl after the first down. They do the We Are Wazoo, which I don't really not a huge fan of that, like the Zombie Nation We Are Wazoo thing, because it's just too close to what Gonzaga does. So I don't know. Like, they don't have Back Home. But it's weird. At the start of the third quarter, which they have the quarter wrong, or start of the fourth quarter, which I think they're trying to. They always show the Wazoo fans like with their arms around each other and like swaying back and forth and singing.
Yeah.
So I think maybe it is playing and I'm just not hearing it, because a lot of the music is like I'm gonna have to like turn down other things so I can hear some of the sound effects, because it takes you a while to pick it up.
Yeah.
And also I'm old, my ears don't work as well. But yeah, it's like I might play with my Bluetooth headphones on just to see, because those it's more surround sound I can pick up. But like there's just some cool details like that, and they do the intro, like the entrance onto the field has the fire and the line of the cheerleaders, and but
and it's a big but.
One of the coolest parts of the entrance,
Because
and
it's in the game, but this is not in the game.
One of the coolest parts of the entrance and out of this Cougar thing is Butch running out, and there
or,
was
or
no,
riding out
or
on a
riding
quad
out on a
or whatever, right?
quad, or just being on the sideline during the game. You know, like if I were to play the game and Butch would show up when I scored a touchdown, my daughter would probably be all over that because she likes when I play FIFA. When I play with the Sounders, when you score a goal and the fire comes on, because it's just like what she sees in the game.
Right, just like at home.
But there is, so they only did mascots, I think, for about 50 schools.
Yes.
And WSU is not one of them.
Boo.
And so Butch is not in the game,
Yeah,
which
fuck that.
fucking sucks, dude.
It
like
does.
it sucks because you play like I played at UW, and fucking Harry the Husky was there, and the live dog was there. Runs out on the field before the game. They show him close up. They pan over to him sitting in front of his doghouse. Like,
Well, like,
there's
and
not
this
even a
is-
Butch. Like, come on.
I mean, this is what we talked about on the way up. Was like the nature of the relationship between us and Butch, which I think is hard for like anybody who's not a Coug to sort of understand, because most of the time mascots like Butch are for the kids, right? Like,
Yeah.
like you go to the Mariners, the fucking moose runs around, and it's
Yeah.
like everybody just goes, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
and
you
like,
pointed out, like, look, I
look,
pointed
it's
out
the
to
moose, and my
to
kids
girls.
are like,
I'm
oh my
they're
God,
like,
it's
oh my
the
God,
moose.
they're
Exactly.
just on Moose Watch the whole game. They just
Exactly.
want to know where he is.
And so it's like the moose actually only matters to the children. I think that's mostly true of most furry mascots at pretty much any school.
Yeah.
But Butch is different at Wazoo. Like, we're like full grown ass adults, and if Butch comes around, we're like, fuck yeah, Butch.
Yeah.
Come get a pic. You know, we give him a little fist pound.
Yeah.
And we're like, come get a picture, and Butch is like, hell yeah. And I don't know. It's a different. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I don't know how.
paid,
but it's a different deal.
I paid actual real money for Butch to literally fly out
Yep.
to my sister's wedding. Like, that's and it was cool for the kids, but all
But it
the
wasn't for
adult
the
Wazoo
kids.
alums were so hyped, and my sister was so hyped to have Butch at her wedding.
It wasn't for the children to have
Like,
Butch there.
we love, like, we as adults, like, love Butch as much as any. Like, I love Butch more than my 6-year-old does, and my 6-year-old thinks Butch is the greatest person in the world.
Yes. As she should.
Yeah, as she should. Like, yeah. So it's just, it sucks like that he's not there. Like, it sucks because there's mascots at other schools. Like Puddles is there.
Yes.
You know, obviously I'm just thinking of the teams I've played. So it's like any of the major, like the major teams I've played, they have their mascot.
I do wonder what the barrier was, like why that was.
Because I guarantee WSU submitted
Oh,
Butch
for
as
sure.
part of their stuff.
For sure. So I don't know what the barrier was. I know friend of the pod, Matt Brown, who does the Extra Points newsletter and has been kind of at the front of reporting on the game for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
He said beforehand that there would be only about 50 mascots. There must be some reason why. There must be something difficult about the mascots that's not difficult about everything else. But he said that there are plans to update it. It may or may not happen as an organic update with this game, or it might be like future
26
years
or 27.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll have to see. But other than that, seems pretty good.
Yeah, it's there's so much cool. Like, it's so cool to like. It's so like it's like legit like meaningful to me. Like, it's exciting to be able to play like as Wazoo again on a video game and like an updated version of it. And on my PS5, and it looks really nice, and like goddamn, like the movements of the players are so much more realistic and all that stuff. Like, it's so nice. Yeah, like it's so cool. Like, I've really enjoyed it. I've had a great time. I'm gonna play it a lot more. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah. So like if you enjoyed playing it 10 years ago, I'm sure you'll enjoy playing it now, and
for all the same reasons.
For all the same reasons, because you can just you connect to it, and it's cool. Like, you play with Wazoo, and you haven't been able to do that on a new video game in a really long time. I've got Wazoo go undefeated and win the national championship, all as much as you want. Now back to real life Cougar athletics. Something.
Like real life is not as fun right now.
Well, yeah, I haven't. I like. Look, I'm just going on a limb and say WSU is not winning the college football playoff this year. I'm just going to go out on a limb, but they did my video game world.
That's all that matters.
But maybe our new athletic director will be the one to lead us to college football playoff glory. And so finally, WSU has, in the time we've been off, hired Anne McCoy, longtime employee.
Yep.
Of the AD, a longtime high-ranking employee of the AD.
Yep.
To replace Pat Chun and be WSU's new athletic director.
Yeah. Which I think kicks ass, actually. So yesterday, she had her formal introduction yesterday. Said a lot of really inspiring things, which I don't have in front of me right now. It wasn't like, I think the thing that I liked about it the most, the thing I liked the most about her hire, something that I wrote about in a newsletter a couple weeks ago, was really just like, I feel like she's kind of the perfect person for it right now. Just with the specific moment where we're at, right? Like I'm a huge believer. Like I'm not like some kind of like leadership guru or anything, but I am a huge believer in different people being the right people to lead an organization at different times. And I guess what I mean by that is like organizations need different leadership at the top at different times for different reasons. And WSU is in a different spot now than it was when Pat Chun was hired. And it was in a different spot when Pat Chun was hired than when Bill Moose was hired. And I think we can say, or at least I would say, Bill Moose, for whatever flaws he had or whatever, was the right guy at that time.
Oh, absolutely.
And, they accomplished things with the backing of, Elson Floyd that they would not have been able to accomplish maybe necessarily without Moose being in that spot, right?
With the equal revenue sharing and the Pac-12 was
and
primary.
I don't know how much credit he should get for that, but I know that like it certainly could not have hurt to have him in that spot.
It felt like he was one of the big voices in it back in the day.
Yeah, and then also to have a guy who had just sort of like deep deep ties within the conference itself was a really big deal at that time. Right. Okay. So then he moves along to Nebraska, which if he hadn't, he might have been asked to go.
Yeah.
So you bring in Pat Chun. We need a jolt in the arm with fundraising. That happens under Chun. Great. Then he leaves under, whatever circumstances that, he left under. And so it's like now we're in like kind of this like conference wilderness. Right. And I think having someone who has like really, really deep ties within the university knows WSU better. Honestly, I would say better. WSU athletics better than anybody on campus.
Yeah.
Like truly, literally better than anyone on campus. And knowing what the program needs, what kind of leadership, where they're going, what their strengths are, how to sell themselves maybe to other people. I just think that like there's no better candidate than her. And
probably, I'm just making an assumption. It probably has a lot of relationships with a lot of people that will be important for WSU to have relationships with as it navigates the next couple years.
Yep, no doubt. And it's I was a little skeptical at first in the sense that typically when someone is ambitious, they don't stay in one place for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't mean, I hope that doesn't sound as terrible as I thought it sounded coming out of my mouth. But it's like, people stay for 20 years.
Especially in this profession.
Yes. Right? Like if you're an upwardly mobile person within college athletics, you're not sticking around one athletic department for 20 years. So a lot of times that can kind of be held against you, right? Like even if you like where you work, you want to stay. It's sort of like, well, why don't you have the motivation to change jobs? Like, what's the?
Yeah, she chasing an AD position at a school like Brian Blair did.
And they do this with coaches, right? Like, if you're a coach and you've got, you have designs on being a head coach, you better be, working with different people, trying different things, right? Okay, so all that to say, I was the initial move to put her in the interim spot. I was kind of like, okay, great. It seems like a logical move. And then it was like, well, is she really a candidate? And then they kind of sent her out after a couple months, sent her out on basically like a press tour, right? She did a whole bunch of radio interviews, whatever. Really impressive. Like, I think hit all the right notes and just, I think just sort of oozed confidence. And it's one thing to be a person who comes in from the outside and says, you know what, this is a great school. I'm happy to be here. You know, okay, I mean, that's your job, right? When Anne McCoy says it, like, I actually think that she believes it to her core.
She's been here for 20 years.
Right. Like, she's not selling something as a salesperson.
How many people have lived in Pullman for 20 years?
Right? Like,
I mean, one of the people that I know that did, she just left and went to Oregon State.
Yeah.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. And so I just was kind of like, you know, she's not selling something to sell it. She's speaking to that which she knows and believes. And I kind of feel like all of that, the knowledge, the confidence, the you know what, I'm fucking proud to be a Coug. I mean, she didn't say that, but like she's sort of giving this vibe. I'm fucking proud to be a Coug, and I'm proud to be leading this athletic department. I'm not running away like the fucking idiot that left before, who went across the mountains because he was scared. Yeah. So
you need someone that believes that WSU deserves to be in certain places, and is not going to come tell you, oh no, well, are you guys really one of those schools? Like, are you really one of those elite institutions? No, you need someone who believes that WSU is and has experienced WSU having that success. So, I think good job. Also, like, if you look at the landscape, you know, when they hired, you know, they weren't going to hire from another Power 5 school anymore. Like, they kind of, you know, you look at like the pool of talent that they were drawing from is definitely would have been different than it was 5 years ago. Yeah. So it's I think a good hire and hopefully it works out well, because there's some she definitely took on a very difficult job. Yep. But Jeff, you know, to get through this job, she might need a few drinks, and I hope she's such a Coug, even if she's not a big lager fan, like our friend Mark in the chat. Maybe she'll just suck it up for the Cougs, for the NIL, and drink Old Crimson Legendary Lager.
Old Crimson Legendary Lager.
Jeff, you know, we have not done this for so long, so I looked at I never check in on tap, but I remember I checked in the first time I had Old Crimson. Yes. Can you guess when the first day I had it was?
No. I
can't. How long ago do you think it was?
Probably 6 weeks ago.
It was May 18th. So it was like a few days right after that. Because I remember thinking, oh, we can have it for the show this week. Yeah. And then I've been like continually keeping it stocked just in case. And now we're not even drinking my stock. We're drinking.
We're sitting here at Flat Stick Pub.
Honestly, one of the best ways to drink it, possibly.
I
mean, the best way to drink it will be. Well, okay.
There's a couple of reasons why it's really good to drink.
There's 1A, 1B. I'll say in the tailgate for a Cougar football game, and then at the Coug will be.
Yeah, that'll be 1 and 2.
Which the Coug, by the way, has it, and the Coug is having the official launch party this week, I believe, for Pullman. So it's in Pullman, and I know they had it at like Nashi's in Pullman to go. So Old Crimson Legendary Lager is in Pullman, and it is starting to go to normal stores. I bought it at two different places in Tacoma, in the Wild at Pint Defiance and Peaks and Pints. So 2 beer bars. So they're buying it, and
which means production is ramping up.
Which means I'm nudging my friends at Beer Star to be like, come on. Yep. I know you can order from Pike, so order from Pike, and you should do that. You should bother your favorite bar to order it. Yes. But Jeff, now at this point I've had a lot of it. Yes. Not tonight, but
you've
overall.
had more of it than I have, but I've had plenty of it too.
So finally, our beer of the show, we're drinking the same one. I don't have to ask you what you're drinking.
Yes.
We're both drinking.
We're both sitting here drinking our large pours.
Large pours.
Our 20-ounce pours.
We're VIPs at Flat Stick.
That's right.
OGs.
Players Club.
Players Club.
Thanks, Rob.
But we're drinking our Old Crimson Legendary Lagers. Jeff, everyone wants to know, what do you think of the beer? And what's it taste like? What Keith asked, what's it taste like? What's it smell like?
Okay.
What hops are in it? Where are they from? And who is the brewer? Who's the brewmaster? And what's their biography?
Yeah, I mean that's all your area. My area is simply to say it's actually really fucking good. It's light, easy drinking beer. It's like a great summertime beer. Not super heavy. Definitely, it's a
It's
lager.
a great anytime beer.
Anytime beer for sure. But I love beers like this during the summertime because you can just sort of like drink them all day and not feel heavy, not feel like.
Which makes them great for tailgating as well.
Makes them great for tailgating, which will be coming up soon. But even like for you and I, before a Sounders game, right? We stop by here, we drink a few.
Yeah, we used to drink like 4 different, where we used to go around the menu, and now the last few times it's been number 2,
just
number 2,
Old
number
Crimson.
2, Old Crimson Lager.
And we'll come back around to that in a sec because I think that speaks to sort of I think the brilliance of it as a beer from the NIL perspective. We'll come back around to that in a sec. But let's talk about the beer. I think it's delicious, and I'm not. My palate has come around to Pilsners and lagers more frequently, fewer IPAs, things like that. So I'm finding this more pleasurable than I might have 5 years ago, 3 years ago, right?
Yep.
It is a delicious beer in the lager arena. So you can speak to much more the specifics of that, but it is a beautiful, delicious beer. If you are, prone to lagers at this point being something that you enjoy drinking.
Yeah, I'm so happy with how it turned out. It's definitely it's a craft light lager. It doesn't have the kind of the residual kind of corn ethanol flavor of the other domestic light lagers you might drink. It doesn't have the white bready flavor that some of Bud Light has.
Yep. Or Coors Light.
It just doesn't have those things. It doesn't have the kind of acidic abrasiveness of those either. It's so balanced and beautifully done, and but it also tastes like it has flavor, but it's also crushable at the same time. It's not too big, and the body is real easy drinking, real light. It's only 4.5%, which I love because I'm just gonna pound them like crazy at tailgates. And
by the way, people we've heard some people be like, "Oh man, it's only 4.5%." Basically, how can I get wasted off a 4.5% beer? But I
chug them.
I was gonna say I'm here to tell you, it's an easy drinking beer. Just drink more of them, and you'll be fine.
We all got drunk on Busch Light in college.
Yes, we did, and that's
4%. That's less than this.
3.9, something like that. You can do it. I promise.
But
folks,
this one
you
tastes way better. I'm so impressed with how it turned out.
It's a very tasty.
It is
beer.
one of the best craft light lagers I've ever had. I put it up there with Holy Mountain Light, Holy Light, and some of my other favorites. It's so good. Pike, their beer has turned around quite a bit recently, and they
new brewmaster, right?
They had a new brewmaster. That brewmaster left when they merged with Fremont, so I'm not really sure who the brewmaster is now, but she would have definitely played a role in developing this beer, and so it's just if it's a beer that feels scalable, they can brew a lot more of it because there's nothing particular. They're not using any special hops, any special grains. So it's. I do not know what hops in there, where they come from. Probably Yakima.
Yep.
Let's be honest.
I'm sure.
But yeah, it's so well done. I'm so happy with it. Because I knew I was gonna drink a lot of it regardless. but now I like drinking it.
Well,
Like,
I mean, like that's a really key thing, right? Like you and I would probably, like lots of people would probably drink it if it was like just like We'd be like, well, yeah, we love the Cougs, we support the Cougs, let's drink it, even though it's just kind of a pretty mediocre beer. But the fact that it is both, and this came up today for you or the other day for you when you bought a 6-pack at one of the places in Tacoma, like, is it good or is it just because you're a Coug? And it's like
it's
both.
Yeah, I went when my friend of the podcast, D. Beer Star bartender, she'll go to Pint Defiance, and she sent me a picture that it was there, and I was like, holy crap. So I went there, and I knew one of the bartenders, and he was asking me, like, do you just buy this because you're a Cougar? He's like, I think it's a good beer. Do you think? And I was like, yeah, it's, and he just objectively thought it was a good beer, and he knows beer, and so I was like, well, it's both, but yeah, of course I would buy it, because he told me Cougs coming to Pint Defiance who don't even know about this beer, see it and buy it immediately.
Yeah,
and that speaks to we've already talked about this. We talked about this 2 months ago, but the branding is so on point. It's
totally
so
on
perfect.
point.
The name, the can art is perfect. Everything about it is so perfectly fucking done. And then the beer is good. Like, it's just, I'm so happy with this. Because I'm gonna drink so much of it now. We need it. Pike is going to be transitioning their production to Fremont, and once that happens, they're going to be able to produce at the amounts that Cougs are going to drink it. Because right now it's still kind of, you got to kind of chase it. You got to chase after it.
It'll eventually be in stores. We'll eventually see it at Walmart. Next to Kilt Lifter or whatever.
But it's just like, because Cougs will have that demand for it, and Fremont, if Fremont and Pike see that people are buying it, they're definitely gonna, and they've already seen it. Like, Pike can't keep it, the cans in their tap room. That's what the Pint Defiance guy, he told me, like, they can't keep the cans on the shelf because every Coug, they don't just buy like
every
one.
Coug that comes through buys a
case.
case.
They buy 12 of them. Like, and so I just like casually bought 20 of them yesterday. Now to add to the 20 I already had in my fridge.
But I feel like the quality is so important.
Yeah.
Because obviously everyone is going to, like, all the Cougs are going to buy it just because. They're going to be like, oh, there it is. I'm going to buy that, right?
But then they drink it.
Yeah, but if you drink it and it's just like, then you just, on a day when I feel like supporting the Cougs, I might buy it, right? But if it's good, then that's what keeps them coming back. And so I feel like it's kind of the perfect combo where it's like, they're going to buy it because it's Coug branded, but then they're going to drink it and they'll be like, actually, this is good.
And I do feel like it's good, and it's like, to use a stupid word, but like sophisticated enough for like a craft beer drinker to appreciate it. Especially if you like craft pilsners and craft lagers. But it's also, it's light enough that your dad who drinks Bud Light all the time will probably drink it too.
Yeah. I mean, you and I walk around tailgates, and it's like we see a lot of, at least I think I do, see a ton of Coors Light.
Coors Light, yeah.
Lots of Coors Light.
Well,
it's
official
like,
beer of Cougar Athletics.
Right. So if you're drinking Coors Light and you have this, you're going to be like this tastes much better.
Yeah, this is just a better version of it.
Yeah. Right? Like, so to me, that's going to be the selling point. And then it's like, people are stocking up for their tailgates. All right, I need to be able to go buy, 4 cases of, Old Crimson.
Yeah, the dream is on Saturdays in Pullman, you go to the tailgates
and you walk around,
cans are
and that's
everywhere,
all you see.
And then people can have it on their little kegerators, and it's just everywhere.
Yep.
And I think we're proving that it is worth that level, because you have to prove to the breweries that it's worth that level of production. And I think we are with how we're buying it. So keep buying it, guys.
Yeah.
And they will produce
look,
at those levels.
You've talked before about how this is kind of a tough time for the beer industry.
Yeah.
And if they know they can make something that's going to sell, like really sell, they'll make it.
You're getting people that wouldn't spend $12 to $15 on a 6-pack that will, because it's a Coug beer.
Exactly.
And by the way, because we don't know the portion, but a portion of it goes to the Coug NIL fund.
Right.
So, like, literally helps Coug sports.
Yep.
But, by the way, there is one thing we do know. And we do know that Flat Stick, where we are currently drinking this beer, every pint they sell, they donate at $1 of
One
that,
whole damn dollar,
which is
actually.
a lot.
I know. I was gonna say that doesn't sound like a lot. That's when you
Like,
figure
that's
when
a
you
big
think
portion of the margin.
when you think about a pint of beer here costs what, like $7.50, $7, $8, something like that.
I think probably $7
Right?
for
Okay.
Crimson.
You know, so you're paying $7. Like, that's a huge whatever their margin is. I think there's a pretty good chance they're probably not taking a loss on it, but they're probably not making anything on it.
Yeah, they're probably not making much.
That's
no.
probably eating up almost all their margin on that one beer.
Yeah, especially when jokers like us come in and order
Hell
20
yeah,
ounce
we get our
pours
20
of
ounce
it.
pours.
Bad Cougs over here.
But Flat Stick, as we have said before multiple times on the podcast, owned by Cougs, wonderful people. We love them, and that's why we are here giving them all sorts of free advertising.
Yeah, we
while
didn't even
drink their
tell them we
beer.
were recording. We're
No,
just
we
like
didn't.
set
We just
up
showed
shop.
up. We just showed up and set everything up. So, Rob, if you're still listening to the podcast, thanks for letting us
There's
show
like a
up.
private party we're crashing.
Yeah.
I think. Oops.
All right, so we need to go refill one more time. After we come back, when we come back, we got some Q&A, right? So we got some questions and some answers from
Which
us.
we're going to run through real quick because
Which
we got to
we'll
go to
run
the
through real
Sounders
quick
match.
because we got to go to the Sounders. Probably about 20 minutes. So, all right, we're going to hit the pause button here, and then we'll come back. And we're back, Craig. and we found someone in line.
Someone you guys know.
By the way, I need people to know that, like, this is not a joke. Like, this is for real. We were standing in line, and right behind us, you might recognize this voice.
I was caressed by you first, is what happened. I was caressed.
I turned around and I
And-
was like, holy fucking shit, look at this guy.
See, this is odd. I wasn't allowed to curse on my old podcast. The executive producer wouldn't have it. This is odd to me.
That's right.
to
The
do this.
executive producer was not much of a caresser. Most cats aren't.
No. She did bite me today. That was very nice.
All right, so for folks who do not recognize that voice, that is the one and only Michael Preston.
Well, what am I better known as?
Yeah.
Golden Throat.
There you go.
Golden
yes,
Throat,
thank you.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
with the distinctive voice,
Yes.
which we love.
Currently enjoying my first ever Old Crimson Lager. This is the first time
I
I've
know.
had it.
So
It's been
we literally
months.
just did our
We
review.
literally
And-
just got done reviewing Old Crimson Lager. So your thoughts, Michael?
I like it. I like drinking for the kids.
Of course.
Anytime I can do that.
Of course.
So from that standpoint, I enjoy it. I think it's better than like a, standard lager beer. I'm
Yes.
getting more into lagers and pilsners now.
Yeah,
As it gets
so
hotter.
this is what Craig would beer journey.
Yeah. We all come back to lagers
We all-
eventually.
Once we go on the journey with all the IPAs and all the fucking palate wreckers and all that
all
shit.
the big boy dark beers.
Right, and then we all end up back with pilsners and lagers.
You know what's so
Because
funny
we
is that's-
can't drink too much and not fall asleep.
That's
Well,
right.
No, that's so. The last time I was in Pullman in March, it was literally what did we have? We had one pitcher of IPA at 11:30, and then I drank Coors Light for the rest of the day because
It's just
I'm all about
survival tactic.
Look, man, it's a marathon, literally, not
Yes.
a sprint, and that is a distance
Yes.
beer. That is the Kenyan marathoner of beers, and that is what I need to get through an entire day in Pullman now.
I know it's true though. Like, I mean, you drink one of those IPAs and it's delicious. Like a Bodhi is still like one of my favorite things to drink.
I usually get a pitcher of Bodhi.
Absolutely delicious.
Eventually,
Also,
I think.
I'm about to take a nap as soon as I have one or two. Pitchers of Bodhi are not where it's at
Yeah.
for a 47. Y'all aren't as old as me, but they're not where it's at for
It's not
this
where it's
guy.
at for a 36-year-old guy.
But you guys are both dads now.
Yeah.
We're
so,
old now.
Yeah.
You know, so
Back
once you're
when we used to call you old,
yes,
now we're that
you
old.
are that age.
I have a 4-year-old tomorrow, so
Yeah,
yes, I am
yeah.
that
I
old.
love
Yes.
that. I
Yes.
love that. How you feeling about that?
She is one sassy pants.
I just took my oldest on a college visit because he's about to be a senior.
I don't feel that old. I'll tell you
I
that
remember
much.
when he was 4, Michael. Just like I was telling Craig earlier tonight, I remember when he was 6. He's talking about being 6.
B
Fuck.
is 6.
Fuck.
We have
Okay.
something happier than existentialism to explore here.
Yes, I love this. Okay, so we have some Q&A.
Okay.
The questions come from, but now we get like this is kind of like a throwback to Ask Michael Anything.
Yes, a little bit. Yes.
For the
on
Coug Center Hour fans and
Yeah, for the
That I
Coug
wasn't
listeners.
Center
allowed to
Hour
keep the name
fans.
of for some reason.
I mean,
and
why not? Maybe someday you'll get the itch and you'll resurrect
Maybe we spell it R-E, Coug Center
Yeah, yeah.
Hour.
it. like the Canadian I mean, Michael is a big hockey fan.
Now, yes,
so
it's my entire personality
Yes,
now.
yes.
It's my entire personality.
Sammy works for the Kraken,
Yes,
and
she
you've
does.
got Sammy is wonderfully accomplished.
I think
all right,
Sammy
so
runs the Kraken now. I
know.
think that's what it is.
Throwback to Ask Michael Anything. We've got some questions here. Now the questions come directly from our Slack, so our members only Slack, right? So
Yep.
if you have a premium subscription to Podcast versus Everyone, that gives you access to our members only Slack. So all of these questions come from there.
Is there like a beaded like curtain to go into this members only?
Yeah,
area?
kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda.
We
It's
have
like-
jackets.
It's like
This
it's the champagne room.
Yeah, this is for people who don't
podcast.
remember like video rental stores
Yeah.
that had that room in
Yeah,
the back
exactly.
with the beaded
Yeah.
curtain.
Yeah.
Yes, and it is. Pretty
Yeah.
much like that.
Exactly what you're thinking about.
Pretty much exactly what you're talking about. Okay, so let's start. I don't know how many we're gonna get through. We only got about 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Before we got to pack up and head to the Sounders. Okay, so I'll read the first one. So this one comes from Cullen. Cullen asked the question: with the recent ruling that schools can be directly involved with NIL, do you see the collective and athletic fund working together under one umbrella, or staying separate entities? Personally, I think the fund could learn a thing or two from the collective in terms of self-promotion and fundraising. So, Craig, I'll throw that one to you first.
Yeah.
First of all, do you see them staying separate or working together more? And I think an important piece of context here is Anne McCoy, right?
Yeah.
Because, I will tell you, I heard that Chun was not
Nope.
thrilled to work with the collective.
Because as his primary role as a fundraiser, and I think he saw it as a direct threat, which
I think he saw it as a zero-sum game, right?
which isn't a totally inaccurate belief. There is only so much money to be donated, but they definitely should work together.
Yep.
Will they? Yeah, that's going to be up to Anne.
I think they kind of have to, don't they?
They have to. But they're going to be compelled by Dickert and all the other coaches to be like, hey, we need this. The AD needs to be in support of it as well.
Yep.
And before the AD couldn't officially be in support of it, now they can. They can actually partner with it. I do know there's a bit of an issue with this beer because of sponsorships, but
Right.
but
So it's definitely not Coors Light.
Yeah, it's not Coors Light. So that there's definitely some things around that where the collective can partner with whoever the fuck they want to partner with.
Right.
Whereas
And they're not bound by
WSU
contracts and
has
shit.
contracts with a lot of different companies. For example, the collective partnered with Homefield, the
Yes.
good brand. Yesterday, they had a code Coos could buy 20% off, and also 20% went to the collective.
Yep.
That's like creative stuff that ADs have never done.
Right.
And so
Well, and they're bound by contracts, right? Like
Yeah.
they can only sell through Nike.
well,
or
yeah, there's
whatever.
no way Nike would let them do that.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
So, Michael, I would put to you the second part of the question, which is, can the athletic department learn from sort of the creativity or maybe even just, put a different way, sort of the guerrilla mentality of the collective?
I think they can, and I think too there's an element of scale to this too,
Yeah.
right? Where if you are a season ticket holder at Washington State, by default you are a member of the athletic fund. You have to be. You donate money to be in the fund, so far as I know, and I think their kind of quote unquote donor role is larger. But I think there's also still things the athletic fund can do better in a guerrilla style, like you said, right? Like little pop-up events, or they can even just as basic as being more responsive to people in an email or a phone call, like the collective is and has been. would just be a big improvement. But I think there is still a difference in terms of, okay, the collective has a lot of very dedicated folks, and that's great. The number of people is just not as great as what the athletic fund has to deal with. And again, they're bound by how many people can they hire, their budget to do that. Whereas somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the collective is mostly run out of the goodness of a lot of people's hearts at this point.
Definitely.
So it's not
sure.
it's not a we have people on the payroll to handle this.
I mean,
kind
I
of
think
stuff.
they have an executive director, and then I think that's kind of
who
it.
maybe takes a
in terms of the
contract
payroll.
payment or whatever.
They
Yeah,
have
that's
counsel. I'm not sure if he gets paid or not.
we would call that on call attorney. Yeah,
But I mean, I think you're right. Like, I think that, athletic department, as we've seen with WSU, like they kind of get, I don't know, a little stuck, right? A little kind of this is the way we've always done it kind of mentality. And I do think that they are. I do think learning from each other is something that
I agree with that. Yeah,
that can be done there.
I think that's right.
So let's move on to the
Next
next question. The next is from Jen, a favorite in the Slack. We all love Jen.
Yeah, Jen asks great questions.
Anyone know anything about the search for the new radio guy? Everything was so abrupt when Bud got replaced. I have no idea how long it takes or when it will be announced. Yeah, obviously the Bud situation was a little different because they already had Matt hired.
They didn't.
They didn't?
No, they didn't.
No, they.
Well, I guess they knew they were going to.
So Bud, okay.
They knew they were going to replace Bud.
The way I
and so
recall
they were
it
looking already.
is so Bud kind of got sacked, and then to borrow a soccer term, so Bud kind of got sacked. Like, Michael, this might even be more your purview, but Bud kind of got sacked, and then there was sort of like a search, but it wasn't like a super long search, and then they hired Matt. Now, so this is the first episode we've recorded since Matt left.
Yep.
So Matt Chazanow is, obviously off to. Hey, Rick. All right, so we got another visitor
North
here.
Carolina State. He's off
We
North
got another
Carolina
Coug
State.
here. Rick's got.
They wrote me into this. I swear.
we saw him in line, and now
I was
now he's
caressed.
on the podcast. Okay, so it wasn't very long, and then they hired Matt. Matt, of course, had no ties to WSU. Was working for Learfield, and then they just sort of brought him in, and I was like, well, this fucking sucks. He's not a Coug. He's like an East Coast guy, whatever. But obviously it worked out really, really, really well because of who Matt was. So Mike, I guess I'll toss it to you. Like, what are your thoughts on what maybe they should be looking for? Because Matt is not a guy I would have picked, and yet it worked out really great.
Well, but I think in that situation is a little different, right? Where you probably knew that you were moving on from Bud, so you probably had a short list of people that you were interested in. You interviewed them. That's why that time between Bud leaving and Matt being hired was probably so short.
Yeah.
In this case, you probably didn't have any notice or very little that Matt was leaving.
That's a good point.
So now we need to build our list of candidates. You're probably going to target somebody who was Matt's age when he got hired, and I think Matt was 26 or 27, right, when he got hired. Ideally, this is going to sound weird. You're going to target somebody who's married. It's hard to meet someone in Pullman, Washington. And so just from that standpoint, ease of okay, they already have someone they're married to. They can move out here maybe easily with a work-from-home job. So it makes it a little difficult to target, but you're kind of looking, again, in that I want to cut my teeth. Again, the conference situation makes it hard because this person doesn't know what they're getting into. So, I think Matt was Matt was doing work for, like you said, for Learfield and subbing in on some stuff.
Yep.
But there's still probably a candidate pool that includes, a guy like Chris King over at Idaho or something like that, where a school similar to that where you can find someone.
Do you think that it needs, and Craig, I'll throw this one to you too. So, Craig, how about you? Do you think it needs to be someone who's a Coug?
No.
No.
Definitely not.
That should not be a limiting factor.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
All right.
Yeah, it worked out really well last time.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people fixate on that being
I
a
think it's
requirement,
good to
and
just
it is not.
Bob
It is
wasn't
not.
a Coug, right?
Yeah.
He worked for the University of Washington for a few years early in his career. So
Shh, how dare you?
well, I love the man,
He
but
also
it's
worked
true.
for the Tacoma Rainiers, baby.
I also worked for the University
and
of
I think-
Washington early in my
I
career.
think what Matt showed is that it's most important
seen the
just
clips,
to be
Michael.
good.
yeah.
like
Be good at
good.
your job. Be good at your
like
job.
be good at it. Now, obviously, what set him apart. I mean, look, I'm bummed to lose him. It really sucks. I understand all the reasons why he left, but also it really fucking sucks. But I think the other thing that made him really good was he decided to immerse himself
Yeah,
in Pullman, in WSU.
he bought in.
So I do think that that's something you have to look for. You have to look for someone who is, number one, good. There's got to be if we're being honest, that was the biggest issue with Bud is that he just, when it came to carrying
Cougars.
the guy, like being the guy, that was a struggle. And then the other part is it's got to be someone who wants to be in Pullman. Wants to buy into that. I mean, look, maybe it doesn't have to be a lifer, but needs to see
I forget lifer thing.
Yeah,
this
no,
is still
just-
Bob Rob was
We're
an
well
exception
beyond
in
that.
terms of
Yes.
how
at
long
the
you're
very
going to stay
least,
at this job.
someone who's going to be there 5 to 10 years
Yeah.
is
That's
willing
fine.
to immerse themselves in Pullman, be a part of that culture.
Another weird criteria you could consider is take somebody who's at another school, maybe a little smaller than Washington State, but that is also not their alma mater. So they had to go there
Yes.
to take that job. So now they also need to come to somewhere similar to where they are now
Yes.
to take another job. They might be more comfortable with that.
Yep. Okay.
So I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna go to the question on attendance.
The
and
question
maybe-
on what?
On attendance for the
Okay,
game.
great.
Because I think we can do the basketball one next
Yep.
week.
Okay, great.
So the question that again, colon. Sorry, we're going back to the colon well here. What are your expectations for home football attendance outside of the Texas Tech game?
Bad.
Let's assume for this question the team is good.
Yeah.
What's the
Less bad.
atmosphere like in mid-October into November? Now, anyone, if you're a season ticket holder and you've went to some deep October, November games, you know that them games have sucked in general in terms of attendance, especially if it's the day before break or just November 8th. Like, people just don't go to those games unless it's like dad's weekend or family weekend, so we call it now. So setting that, like, I have seen some very poorly attended November games when
Against,
WSU was really good.
I was going to say against Arizona. Or
Yeah.
whatever.
It was also 17 degrees out
Yeah.
for that game,
Yes.
the 2019 version. Yes,
But it is going to be 17 degrees out for some of these games that we're
One
talking
thing
about.
that I hope helps is some more clarity around start times. Although some of them are 12:30 or 7:30 right now,
I
which
think,
is not really helpful.
but you still have at least like some idea.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think the one thing that gives me a lot of pause is we usually stay at the Hilltop, except for this year we're actually staying with Rick in Moscow. They send an email to offer one night, get the other one half off.
Yes, that does tell
I remember
you
I got that
something.
same email. I was like,
That
oh
That does tell
no,
you
oh
something.
no.
Frightening. That the Hilltop is doing.
Because usually they're like,
and
no,
it was
it's
in like
$400 a night.
Yeah,
You pay it or leave.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it's still $600 for the weekend, but that
Yeah.
they're willing to shave half the price off for a night, and it was in like
Yeah.
May that I got that email. That is, I'm
That tells
worried
you
a little bit.
exactly
Yeah,
what you need to
that
know.
told me what I thought I needed to figure
So my
out.
expectations, like outside of the Texas Tech game, is that it's going to be worse. Because honestly, it was never that good.
No.
It was also it was always very driven by the opponent and who we were
Yes.
playing.
And that's
with
always.
like some exceptions of like really different years.
Yep.
Like 2018 or 1997.
But it's rare.
Like,
It's
but like
rare.
it's rare. Like these days, like even the students, like you really got to impress them to come out. Like it's like, given how difficult it is to go to Pullman and attend a football game when you don't live in Pullman,
Yep.
now you're going to be playing Wyoming,
Utah State.
like
Hawaii.
You're not playing. There's no UCLA, USC on the schedule.
Oregon.
There's
yeah.
no Oregon on the schedule. There's not even any Stanford or Cal on the schedule. Like these are all teams that were non-conference games before, and now they're on the schedule in October and November. I think it's going to suffer. I think it's going to be. I think Texas Tech will be the only full stadium, and I not sure how even close to full any of the other ones will be. I think it's going to be rough. But also, I've seen some really empty stadiums when we were actually good, so I don't know.
I think, too, maybe if there's any clarity on the conference situation before then,
Yep.
and if it improves from that base case scenario of whatever the merger with the Mountain West looks like, if there's any improvement on that, then okay, things look a little better. But that is, of course, highly variable on
Yeah,
about
I will say that Anne
2,000
McCoy
things.
said that it would be July 2025 that she's hoping for clarity, but
Her
I'm
boss
with you.
with the Pac-12 said that to Coug fan today as well.
yeah,
It's just her boss at Washington State, who will not be in his job in July of 2025, that has said, January, guys.
yeah, the most amazing
And I'm
man
begging him to
at
stop.
setting
Schultz loves
unreasonable
his dates.
timelines.
I don't know what
It's
he needs
incredible.
to
He
stuff
loves
in his
his
mouth and keep it
random
shut.
dates.
It's incredible.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Like if he would just never say a date, no one would have anything to say. But he's always
Yeah.
like,
I don't know if I trust him if he told me when Christmas was at this point.
look, I mean, I think we're all in agreement. Attendance is not going to be great.
No.
If the thing is this, like, even if the team is really, really, let's say they're really good, right? Let's say they beat Texas Tech, they beat Washington.
Dare to dream.
They're heading into October at, say, 5-0 or something, right? And let's say they're midway through October and they are, maybe they slipped up once. They're like 6-1 or 7-1 or something. But it's like, okay, to what end, though? Right? And I think that's what our fans.
yeah, it's like, what are we playing for?
Yeah, you can't win a conference
We
championship.
cannot win the
We're not.
Mountain
You're not
West.
playing for the Rose Bowl.
The only
Las Vegas
way
Bowl.
we
I mean,
can.
you are. If it's like I think it's a second round college football playoff game.
Well,
is the Rose
and that's
Bowl.
the thing. The only way we can get into the college football playoff is to be
An
one of the
outlier.
next 7 teams.
Yeah.
Right,
So we
like
have
we
to be a
can't,
top
we
15,
cannot get
top
in by
16
winning the Mountain West and being the highest ranked G5
AQ,
team
yeah.
or whatever. We're not eligible for that, and so it's like even if we're really like we would have to be really, really good, like undefeated heading into November, kind of good.
Be realistic. It needs to be. It would have
Right?
to be 12-0. You'd
Right.
have to be 12-0.
But I'm saying, like, in terms of
Yeah.
attendance, like, okay.
Oh, yeah, sorry,
do people
yeah.
show up in November if we are 8-0 heading in November? Probably, right?
Maybe, yeah.
But
Yeah.
if we're even if we're like 6-2, and we're like, okay, we're already bowl eligible, we're gonna go to a bowl, right? Because all the Pac-12 bowl games are still intact, all that stuff. We're bowl eligible, but we're not really like. All of the excitement over the years has always been things like, hey, we could win the Pac-12, or we could maybe, like 2018 was maybe we can push our way into the CFP, whatever. That's just not going to be the case this year. And so, I just don't think when it comes to, I do think people love to go to Pullman, maybe not at the end of October into November.
So just one. I'll add on a question to this. November 30th against Wyoming.
No, I'm not going.
Over under
I
on
know.
attendance. I'm saying at
15,000?
10,000. I'm saying at 10,000.
Yeah, I said
Oh,
15.
I think because it's a Thursday.
This
No,
is-
it's a
this
Saturday
is
though, right?
This is a butts in seats
It's a Saturday,
versus
so
like
you can
What-
drag.
announced
is Thanksgiving
attendance.
earlier?
No,
this
it's
year?
super late this year.
It's super
late. It's 28th.
So yeah, no, that's just it's the,
the
Saturday
kids,
after.
the kids,
no,
the kids won't be there, but I think you could probably drag about
The only thing like
10,000 people
because
from
the only game
Tri-Cities and
we've ever had
Spokane.
in that spot before is the Apple Cup.
Yeah.
And
We're still
even
playing
that's,
UW. What's your
pulling teeth
problem?
To get people coming back from
It's
that.
still UW.
It's UW, guys. We're playing UW.
We're playing UW. Don't just when they show up
Don't
in
worry
white
about it.
and
Don't
gold.
worry
When
about
they
it.
show up in white and yellow pants,
Yeah.
don't and green helmets. Ignore
All right.
that.
Okay, we are out of time, but I do want to get in one very silly question because if we're going in the spirit of ask Michael anything, which is sort of what we're trying to channel here, one silly question. So we're going to go to Jen's question of Mayo, thumbs up, thumbs down. This is where we're going to wrap up. Craig, Mayo, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I mean, it depends on the situation.
Okay, explain.
What different situations could we be talking?
Like I don't like I don't know. I think people overuse mayo.
Okay.
But I'm fine with it like on a sandwich and like I use it to make potato salad and
Okay.
but like honestly,
How about-
sight of it is
Okay.
gross to me. I also
Okay.
like dipping fries in it. If you ever been to like
Oh, yes.
Canada or
Yes,
Belgium,
my
I was about to say, I was
and-
literally about to say very
Tristan
Belgian of
loves
you.
Yeah.
dipping in
But
mayonnaise.
they just called it aioli, and that's
Yes,
fancy.
yes. That now it's acceptable because we call it aioli and not mayonnaise. Yeah, exactly. All right, Michael.
Yes.
Yes.
I like mayonnaise.
Yes.
Again, if we're using it standard products,
Yes.
your sandwiches,
We
your
know that
potato
Michael
salad,
likes it on a hot
your
dog.
deviled eggs. I do love hot dogs. I do like it on a hot dog.
I remember this debate from the Cook
Yes.
Center days.
Yes.
I do like it on a hot dog. I will admit that. And
Okay.
back in the day, I did put it on there, but not anymore. Now just cream cheese and onion and jalapenos
Yeah.
Oh.
is my usual
Seattle
munchies
style.
Cream cheese is.
Oh, but I
Call
will-
that Seattle style.
Oh, I will nuke that thing with jalapenos, though. Everything in the bin at Munchies goes. Every jalapeno in the bin goes straight into that
Yeah.
hot dog.
All right, so I am a huge fan of mayonnaise. I love mayonnaise on so many things. I will put mayonnaise on a burger. I'll put it on a sandwich. I'll put it on a hot dog for sure. Put it
On
on
a burger's
hot
pretty
dog.
underrated for me.
Yes.
Pretty
on a
underrated.
burger is good.
Yes, and by the way, I will also admit, or I will also tell people, part of the mayonnaise situation is our family is 60% gluten free, which means 100% of us get to eat gluten free. So gluten free bread.
Celiac
Needs
stat.
help.
yeah,
Needs
celiac-
help. It
celiac
needs
is
help.
fun.
Yes.
Gluten free bread is a little dry. You need a lot of mayonnaise to make gluten free bread tolerable. So, yeah, big fan of mayonnaise. Big thumbs up on mayonnaise. Mayonnaise with mustard on a sandwich. Mayonnaise
Oh
with
yes, the mayonnaise mustard
Yes,
combo is
yeah.
excellent.
That's what I'm saying.
Mayonnaise is a good base for mixing other things
It
with.
is. That is true. That's aioli.
Aioli. It becomes aioli in that moment.
Yes, exactly.
I've just
When you want to
mixed
feel,
it.
when you
That's
want to
what
feel
we do.
good, when you want to feel
What we
good
do,
about how
like
much you
when somebody-
slather
or
onto a French fry,
fry
it's
sauce.
aioli.
Fry sauce.
Yes, it's just
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Ketchup
Ketchup and
aioli.
mayo.
Just ketchup.
Got it.
Ketchup
Fry
aioli.
fry sauce made me think of Cougar Country. The time we went there after
Yeah.
the Apple Cup. We don't have time for the story. My wife got
when I-
exactly right how long it took our
When
food
I
to
was in
come
That
out.
was
college,
incredible.
and I couldn't, I had to go to not had to, but I would go to the Coug for lunch to get a burger, and I couldn't get down to Cougar Country. I would make fry sauce with ketchup and mayonnaise and just kind of
They have
stir
fry
it,
sauce
stir
now.
it to. Now they have fries. They didn't when I was in school.
Boring.
Craig.
Do the manual work. Come on.
Yeah, but I would have to,
You
stir
damn
it up with my
kids.
French fry.
It's not as good as the Cougar Country fry
It's true.
sauce, though. It's
It's
not.
true.
it's not.
Sorry. Yeah. So anyway, all right. Well, there we go.
Yeah,
Aioli.
Really sticking the landing
I
on the
really
end here
love
with just
ketchup
repeating
aioli.
aioli.
Yeah.
Ketchup aioli.
All right, so Craig, it is time for us to wrap up. So why don't you try to since we haven't recorded in 2 months, try to remember all the shit you're supposed to say at the end.
These like advertisers.
we take your money now.
Yes.
If you want to subscribe to
Yes.
the podcast, we have, as we talked about earlier, a Slack, subscribers only Slack. It's super fun. It's where I spend.
It is super fun.
I spend most of my days. Sorry to the Coug Center Slack.
Yep.
If I'm not on there as much, Michael, it's because I am on the podcast versus everyone Slack.
Oh,
I think
I've noticed.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
All the
but-
late night beer pictures, I weep. I don't get them anymore. I have to be the one to do
Well,
them
we
now.
have a "What are you drinking?" channel.
Yep.
I don't know what things are called.
What are you drinking channel?
What are you drinking channel in Slack? And that's where all my beer pictures go now. To my paying subscribers.
Just text them to me. Just
Well,
text them
give
to
me money, Michael.
Michael, you have an invitation.
Yeah,
to
we
the
literally
Slack.
invited you to the Slack.
I know, but I
literally
keep
sent
forgetting.
you one.
I keep forgetting. I'm old.
Yeah, well, you know
Yeah,
what?
you got a free membership.
You're like
Come
the
on.
youngest old guy that ever lived.
But yeah,
Free
we've
membership
also
to the champagne
we've
room for
also
me.
done some bonus episodes, and we've done some subscriber only
Yep,
Q and A's
yep, done a
and
little
all
bit of that
that.
stuff.
And
By the way, if you would like to ask questions on the Q&A, you got to come to our Slack. You got to pay for the Slack.
yep,
You can ask us the questions.
you have to pay us money for
That's right.
these answers that we
but
just
it's
gave
not
you.
very much, right? So, like, if you buy the annual plan, it's less than, or a little more than $4 a month.
Little more,
A little more.
little tiny bit more. Or you can do $5 a month. If that's more
You
your
can do
speed.
that also. if
I will
that's
give
more
you
your style.
$4.25 to send me
if
a
you're
beer
a
picture.
monthly budgeter.
Yes.
And Michael just said he'd give me $4.25 a month for me to send beer pictures. I
Just
look.
no, I want a personal text.
should
I want
I-
a personal text.
Now I'm thinking I should start an OnlyFans, but just for pictures of beer.
It probably
You're
would.
drinking them with your
Only
feet
beer.
on the
That'd be a hell
glass.
of a lot of supplemental income.
Yeah. Do I have to put my feet in them though?
Yes,
I
you
know,
have.
well-
No, absolutely, you do. Yes.
I mean, listen.
You want to put the girls through college? Put your feet in those photos.
My feet are ugly.
That does not matter one bit.
I don't know.
Might actually help, actually.
Yes.
But
I think
anyway,
my
so
feet
yeah,
are kind of good looking.
you can
If I'm
subscribe.
being honest.
We also have some. We also have some cool articles that we paid Bryce Hendricks to do with the
Yep.
subscriber money.
Yep.
on
But
there
we're gonna do more
you
of that
can
kind
read.
of stuff heading into fall.
Yeah, if you give us more money, we'll pay other people with that money
Yeah,
to
that's kinda how it
do
works.
things that we don't want to do.
Or that we can't do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mostly that I don't want to do.
All right. Twitters. At Pod VS
that's
everyone.
X, sir.
At
At the Craig Powers.
the Craig Powers.
And I think that's it.
That's it. That's all.
Go fucking Cougs.
Go fucking Cougs, Craig. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Alale Cougs.
Yeah. Get vaccinated.
Get vaccinated.
And join a union.
And join a union or
Motherfuckers.
support a union.
Yeah,
I wonder if my
supporting
SAG
one's good
after
too.
union membership is still working. I haven't gotten the movies lately though.